What is going on, guys? I am Randoms Plays back again, and today we are going to be doing a tier list video. If you follow me on any of my social medias, you would have seen me posting about this. Today we are going to be rating our 12 applicants on a tier list basis based off of their social media accounts, and I can guarantee you guys do not want to miss this. Let's just start this right now.
Number 15.
Alright guys, so the first person that we are going to be rating is going to be one of my friends. His name is Pro Brody on Instagram, and actually I looked at his Twitter and he posts way too much about sports, so that's already going to push him down a little bit. It's all he seems to tweet about. It seems to be the only thing he cares about. However, he is going to get some bonus points because as I'm viewing his Instagram, he only has 20 posts and I am in 6 of them, so that's actually pretty impressive that he posts so much about me. It's almost like, what, 33%? So I'm pretty impressed, and for that reason, I'm going to put him in the B category just because the whole sports thing kind of gets canceled out by his obsession over me. Alright, the next person that I am going to pick apart is going to be Timmy Ross.77, and my first impressions of this guy is, he's kind of weird, but in his bio it says your favorite Midwest pop punk kid, and I personally feel like I relate to that caption as well. It's almost something that I would have written myself, and for that I'm gonna have to give him some serious bonus points. As I look through his Instagram, I also see a few pictures of me. However, it's not quite to the same ratio, which is a little bit disappointing. However, when we go and look at his Twitter, that's where things start to get a little rough because he honestly just seems like he's an asshole, And I've got a few pictures on screen that's going to kind of prove what I have to say about that. He really seems to be very confrontational. He likes to argue with people a lot. And if anyone knows me very well, they know that, that's the last thing I want to do, right? I never argue with people. I'm a very serious person. And that's why I feel like him and I just kind of defer. It's sort of the same thing we just had with Brody. There are some good things and there are some bad things. And for that reason, I am going to have to bump him into the B category as well. B for Bop Bunk. Alright guys, the next person on the list is going to be
named Miles Poole,
also known as Jonas Wang 48, and upon our first look on his Instagram, you will see that the majority of his posts are actually mirrored pics, and I think while this is obviously a problem on its own, I think my biggest problem with them is that there are one too many of these pictures that were taken in my mirror, which kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. And this is also quite apparent when you look at his Facebook pictures as well, because there's like a straight streak of just weird mirror pictures. And I try not to use the word cringe too often. However, I am deeply cringing at these mirror pictures on his Facebook wall specifically. However, let's start to get into the positives a little bit. He has quite a few Minecraft pictures that were obviously not created by him, as they're quite massive and amazing works of pixel art that he just decided to download off Google Images and upload. I'm not really sure why he would do that. However, that's what I see. And when you look at his Twitter, you just really see a lot of fake attitude that it's obviously not how he feels. This is coming from someone who knows him in real life. So that's another negative. But I guess I'm going to give him a little bit of positive because he seems to be a Logic fan and a Fortnite fan. So Logic, Fortnite, and Minecraft are really the only things that are keeping him afloat right now. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give him a C on our tier list scale. So the next one we're going to be putting on this list is going to be Aaron Malfour. And this one's really interesting because I spent a considerable amount of time trying to find something to say. But I'm not exaggerating when I say this is probably the most average social media account I've ever seen. It's really bland, and the only term I can really find to describe it is basic. She seems to be really basic. and she's only really got a couple of positives going for her. I found a tweet that said she was a fan of NF. I'm also a fan of NF, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't cancel anything out whatsoever. And I can't tell if she has like the worst political views or the best political views on her Twitter. It's really hard to tell. It's either one or the other. And I think I said all I can really say, and I'm gonna have to place her in the E tier. E for Aaron. And the next person we are going to be analyzing is going to be Dylan Curtis, and he actually runs into the same thing that Aaron had, whereas there isn't much content to look at, but I would say there's a huge difference between the two, because Dylan only has 6 posts on his Instagram, and he doesn't have a Twitter, he doesn't have a Facebook, so all I can base everything off of is his Instagram. And while Aaron had hundreds of posts on every single social media, Dylan just has the 6 posts on Instagram alone. And I would make the argument that his 6 posts are very good, and each post is consistently good, and it's kind of the opposite of Aaron, because his are consistently very good, and she just had a bunch, and it was oversaturated, and they just weren't very good. They're very average. But when Dylan comes up with a post, you know it's going to be something good. So I personally am really anticipating the next Dylan Curtis upload on Instagram. And for that reason, I feel like this should just go without saying that Dylan is... I was going to put him in the A tier, but he's going in the S tier. He is going to be my first S. Alright, so the next person that we are going to cover is Elaine on Instagram. And upon first notice, you would think, well, she's kind of basic, but, she's really not that bad. I feel like it's just a good standard to set Aaron as like the epitome of basic white girl. So if we're using her as a standard, Autumn is definitely a few notches above that. And keeping that in mind, I also went and looked at her Twitter. Her Twitter had some basic tweets, but it was kind of like a mixture. It was like a good mixture, I guess. So that kind of helps balance things out. And she also seems to have a decent knowledge of music, as she said that Mo Bamba and Sicko Mode were both bad songs, and I couldn't help but agree. So keeping all of that in mind, I'm going to have to place her in the C tier. Alright, so our next contestant is Caleb Liponzi, and he obviously gets some bonus points already because he's a direct relative of me. He's my brother, so automatically he's getting some bonus points. However, when I go and look at his Instagram, it seems really, really boring. He's got one picture, and it's not even of him, so he's getting docked some points for that. And then when I look at his Facebook, most of his pictures are like prehistoric and just really old pictures that aren't even relevant to today. He's got a couple of SpongeBob pictures on there. And because of all that and his one post and his inactivity on public social media, I'm going to have to throw him in the D category for that. Alright, so the next person that we're going to cover is Shawn Van Dyke. And this guy has only 4 posts on Instagram, and 50% of those posts are about XXX tentacles. And I've got a really cool clip. It's one of my favorite verses by this guy. I'm going to include that right now. And now that you guys heard that, we'll also take a look at his Facebook profile, which, according to him, he thinks his Facebook has some really good memes. And I can agree partially. I would say they're average memes. I definitely enjoy seeing them on my feed. It's one of those things. There's always like the great meme lords of every social media, right? He isn't great, but he's one of the decent guys on my feed that I can normally haha react to. However, I just wanted to point out that this SpongeBob meme that he recently shared isn't quite accurate, because it's trying to say that SpongeBob over the course of the entire series has been completely amazing, and that just simply isn't true. I think it's very obvious that SpongeBob was in its peak for about the first 3 to 4 seasons, and then after that it kind of fell off. Every SpongeBob meme you ever really see referenced comes from like the first 4 seasons, right? So just because of this meme in particular, this meme really made me mad, so he's getting thrown into the D tier, just for this combination of Instagram and Facebook memes. Alright, so the next person that we're doing is Jasmine Benson. And, obviously when I'm doing this video, I go through a pretty deep, extensive research process. I went to go look at her Instagram though, and I realized that she has a private Instagram, and I'm not following her, and I don't think she's following me either. So we've come to a dilemma. However, I did go and look at her Twitter, and her Twitter it's average, I suppose. Some pretty basic things. However, it does seem like she cares about the Earth, and I'm about the Earth. You know what I'm saying? However, I'm gonna have to dock her some serious points because of because she's not following me on Instagram, right? I don't know why you wouldn't be following me. It's at Larry_Laps. Anyway, but because of that, I'm gonna have to dock her some serious points. She's not gonna be at the complete bottom because, like I said, she cares about the planet. So I'm going to be rating her E for Earth. Alright, so our next contestant on the tier list rating is going to be Lil Alex Plum. And when we look at his Instagram, I kind of like the progression. You know, it kind of started with him just posting memes. Then it got to more personal pictures. And now with his recent uploads, there's just a nice balance of memes and personal pictures, which is kind of cool. I kind of appreciate the progression and the transition into that. And when you look at his Twitter, you can actually see that he is a big Diary of a Wimpy Kid fan, which I'm really not sure how I should take that. I'm not sure if that's really cool or if it's quite the opposite. So I'm kind of neutral on my stance about that. He also seems to be an NBA fan. However, I believe that he is right around like an average social media account, and I'm going to stick him in the C category. We are now on to Matt Pettingill on the tier list. And I feel like no matter where I place this, it's going to be relatively controversial, right? Because obviously on Facebook, Matt has some history there, right? He has one of my all-time favorite albums to view, the Did You Just Like Your Own Comment album. I love seeing every single entry into that. And obviously, he gets clowned on it for a lot, but he really does have some history with the Garlic Bread meme account as one of like their main admins, which I think is to be appreciated. But also, he does post some pretty controversial stuff on Twitter, and I'm also looking at his Instagram right now, and I can see where there could be some cringe associated with it. And, you know, I'm kind of tempted to put him in the A tier because of everything I mentioned prior, but I think ultimately he's deserving of the B tier completely. So that is where we are going to put him. Alright guys, so the final person we are going to be analyzing is Trent Lipon, and you guys already know what I'm going to say. Obviously, he's going to be getting some bonus points because him and I share the exact same last name, which is pretty cool. I feel like he is deserving of a couple extra bonus points because he's always commenting on my posts or memes, which, you know, a nice loving comment on any of your posts is always a great feeling. It's always great to see the same people commenting on your posts, you know, the same people who are supporting you right from the beginning. And also, his profile is average. Nothing special, nothing too detrimental. The memes are okay. You know, I feel like he is deserving of the D category. Alright, those were the final contestants in our tier list for the social media accounts. I'll just cover them very briefly. So in the S tier, we have the infamous Dylan Curtis. And nothing in the A tier, unfortunately, but then in the B tier, we have Pro Brody, Timmy Ross, and Matt Pettingill. I think that they are all equally deserving of the B tier. And then proceeding into the C tier, we have Miles Pope, Autumn Elaine, and Lil Plum. And those guys are definitely deserving of the C tier. Just average there. And then just slightly below average is going to be Caleb, Shawn, and Trent, and those guys, they're deserving that tier as well, just below average. And then finally in E, we have Aaron and Jasmine, just for the reasons I described previously. And anyway, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to try this out, and it was actually a little bit more difficult to make than I was initially intending, However, I'm still pretty satisfied with the result. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, my name is Randoms Plays, and I hope you enjoyed your stays.